The sun rose gently over the golden roofs of the empire. The city was alive with music, color, and fragrance. The sound of merchants calling out their goods, the aroma of jasmine drifting through the streets, and the laughter of children echoing in the courtyards. But behind the palace walls, the emperor sat quietly in his garden, his eyes fixed on the horizon. His name was Emperor Chun, a wise and noble ruler who had guided his people with kindness and justice for many years. Yet now, age had bent his back, and white hair framed his gentle face. He sighed. "I have ruled this kingdom with love," he whispered to himself. "But who will continue after me? Who will care for my people when I am gone?" His ministers, noble and proud, offered many names: warriors, merchants, scholars. But the emperor only shook his head. "No," he said, "power and intelligence are not enough. I need someone who has the rarest quality of all, honesty." That night, as he walked through the royal garden filled with lilies and orchids, an idea bloomed in his mind. He smiled for the first time in weeks. "I will find my successor," he said softly, "not through strength or wealth, but through truth." The next morning, a royal messenger rode through every village and town. He carried a golden scroll that said, "All children of the empire are invited to the palace tomorrow. His Majesty will give each one a single seed. 1 year from now, whoever grows the most beautiful plant shall become the next emperor." The kingdom buzzed with excitement. Parents whispered, "Our child could wear the crown." Children cheered and danced in the streets. Among them was a humble boy named Ping, who lived in a small village on the edge of the forest. Ping was not rich. His clothes were old, and his house was small, but his heart was full of wonder. He loved plants more than anything. He would spend hours caring for his garden, talking to flowers as if they were his friends. When he heard the announcement, his eyes sparkled. "Mother, the emperor wants us to grow a plant." His mother smiled warmly. "Then you must go, my son. You've always had a gardener's heart." The palace courtyard overflowed with children the next morning. Some wore silk clothes, others came barefoot. Yet all of them shared one dream: to become the emperor. Emperor Chen stood on the grand balcony, looking down at the sea of young faces. His voice, calm and kind, filled the air. "My dear children," he said, "today each of you will receive one seed. Take it home, plant it, water it, care for it with love. Return in 1 year with the plant you grow. The one who brings me the most beautiful and healthy plant will be my successor." The crowd erupted in cheers. Ping waited in line, his heart beating fast. When his turn came, the emperor smiled at him, a smile so kind that Ping would remember it forever. He placed a small black seed in Ping's palm. "Grow it with your heart," the emperor said softly. Ping bowed deeply. "I will, your majesty." Ping ran home, holding the seed like a treasure. His mother helped him fill a pot with rich soil. "Remember, my son," she said, "a plant grows best with love." Ping nodded and gently placed the seed in the soil. He watered it and kept it by the window, where the sunlight kissed it each morning. Every day, he checked the pot eagerly. He watered it, talked to it, and even sang to it. "Come on, little seed," he whispered. "Grow strong and tall." But a week passed, then two, and then a month. Still, nothing grew. Ping began to worry. His friends in the village were bragging. "Look at my plant," said Ling, showing off a pot full of green leaves. Another laughed. "Mine has tiny red flowers already." Ping felt a sting of sadness, but said nothing. He went home and told his mother, "Maybe my seed is sleeping too long." His mother smiled gently. "Keep caring for it, Ping. Sometimes things take longer to bloom." Ping did not give up. He replaced the soil, gave it fresh water, and made sure it got enough sunlight. But as the months rolled by, the pot remained empty, silent, and bare. Spring turned to summer. Summer turned to autumn. Ping's hope began to fade. One evening, as he sat outside watching the sunset, he whispered to his mother, "I think I failed." She placed her hand on his shoulder. "You did your best, my son. That's all that matters. Sometimes, honesty is more beautiful than success." Ping nodded, though his eyes were full of tears. He continued watering the empty pot every morning, not because he hoped it would grow, but because he didn't want to stop trying. By the time the year ended, every child in the kingdom had a pot full of colorful flowers, except Ping. The following spring, the emperor invited all the children back to the palace. The city was alive with excitement. Drums echoed through the streets. Banners waved in the sky. Children arrived in carriages, carrying pots overflowing with golden, red, and purple flowers. Some even sprayed perfume on their plants to make them smell sweeter. Ping stood at the edge of the crowd, holding his pot, still empty. He wanted to turn back. "Mother," he whispered, "I can't go in there with nothing." His mother's eyes softened. "Go, Ping. You have everything, your truth." Taking a deep breath, Ping entered the palace gates. People stared and whispered, "Look at that boy. He couldn't even grow a single leaf. What a failure." Ping's cheeks burned, but he kept walking. Emperor Chen appeared on the balcony, dressed in a golden robe. The courtyard fell silent. "My children," he said, smiling, "you have done well. I see beauty everywhere." He began walking among them, admiring the colorful pots. "Magnificent," he said to one. "Splendid," he said to another. Then he reached Ping. He stopped. The emperor looked down at the empty pot and then up at Ping's nervous face. "Why is there nothing in your pot, child?" he asked gently. Ping bowed low, his voice trembling. "Your Majesty, I planted the seed you gave me. I watered it every day and cared for it with all my heart. But it never grew. I'm sorry. I must have done something wrong." For a long moment, the emperor said nothing. The crowd held its breath. Then, to everyone's shock, the emperor smiled. He took Ping's hand and led him to the front of the courtyard. The emperor turned to the crowd and raised his voice. "1 year ago," he said, "I gave you all a seed, a boiled seed. It could never grow." Gasps rippled through the courtyard. "I wanted to see who would be honest enough to tell the truth," he continued. "You all replaced the seed with another, to impress me, all except this boy." He looked at Ping, his eyes full of pride. "This young man brought me an empty pot, because he planted the seed I gave him, and he refused to lie. That takes more courage than growing the finest flower. He placed a golden crown upon Ping's head. This boy, he declared, will be the next emperor, for he has the most precious quality of all, an honest heart. Tears filled Ping's eyes. He couldn't believe it. The children who had laughed at him now bowed their heads in shame. His mother, standing in the crowd, wiped her tears proudly. From that day on, Ping was known not as the boy with an empty pot, but as Emperor Ping the Honest. He ruled his kingdom with fairness and compassion. Under his reign, no one was afraid to speak the truth, for the people had learned from his story that honesty is the root from which all good things grow. Many years later, when Emperor Ping grew old, he built a garden in the center of his palace, a vast place filled with flowers, trees, and fountains. At its heart stood a single empty clay pot, protected by glass. On it, golden words were engraved. This empty pot grew the seed of truth, and from it blossomed a kingdom of honesty. Visitors from across the world came to see it. Children listened to the story and learned that even when truth seems small or useless, it is the strongest seed of all. Honesty may not make your garden bloom today, but it will make your soul flourish forever. True success is not about what you grow. It's about what you keep alive inside you. Integrity,